Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Teach, Seek, Repeat. My name is Dylan.
And my name's Hayden.
This week we're going to be giving you our top tips on how to deal with parents.
I've got a little game for Dylan.
And before all of that, Hayden wants to have a little catch up. Let's do that. Okay, you can't be asked to lead this one, so I'll do it. Don't worry about it. Fine, you've planned everything through. You've done your own episode for once, but you don't want the listeners to know
For
that.
once.
Yeah, you don't want the listeners to know.
No,
you want to just keep it all normal. So I'll lead it. It's fine. I'll take all the flack for chatting all the time, even though you refuse to do it yourself.
And you edit it as well. Edit it afterwards as well. Do all the work.
Honestly.
Social media doesn't count, but you do the editing. Ugh, honestly.
Yeah, you cut a few gaps and I make 50,000 followers on Instagram. Ooh, it's about equal. Let's have a quick catch up. Go on.
Yeah, shall we?
What do you want to catch up about?
Well, it's been just over 2 months now since we did not go back to teaching. I'm not counting the summer holidays, right? So from September, I just want to catch up and see how you're feeling, because I feel like we used to do this all the time on the podcast, and a few people have said, I miss your catch-ups.
Oh.
Because we used to, let's be honest, our catch-ups normally spiraled into some complete nonsensical chat for like 15 minutes. But I do kind of miss the catch-ups as well. Now, since we've introduced the Q&A episode each week, I feel like we've kind of changed our structure up a little bit.
Yep.
And I miss it.
Okay.
I just miss it, you know?
Hey,
So
we'll try it.
I thought it'd be nice to reflect.
Retention. off a curve right now. Off a curve.
Yeah.
These guys
Get the
talking about
guests
this.
back in.
Not even that. Just don't talk about yourselves, please.
Yeah, I know.
I clicked this for parental advice.
Look, don't worry. It's not going to be completely off the rails here. I'm going to keep it within education, because
Go on
I want to
then.
know how you're feeling, because it's been a couple of months since we've quit teaching, not gone back to teaching. And I just want to know, now that the first few weeks we were super excited, we reflected on the podcast, like, wow, this is so different. How are you feeling now? It's been a few months. Has anything changed?
No, I think it's been more and more as I've gone on, cemented that it was definitely the right choice for me in this moment. That is for sure. Luckily, we've been able to stay quite busy. Well, you know, we talked quite a lot in the episodes recently about the maths platform we're building. So exciting. Can't wait to get that up and running. And if it's something you're interested in, by the way, get in touch with us. We're going to try and solve fluency and just get something out there for arithmetic and children doing maths. So get in touch and you can be on the list to try it out first.
Good
That's
plug.
for sure.
Good
Definitely.
plug.
Definitely, because I think we're going to help a lot of people. I'm really excited
Yeah,
about that.
I agree.
So a lot of the time goes into that. We're keeping busy. But here's what I love about it. I love the flexibility. I value flexibility so much now in where I am in my life. And I feel quite privileged to be able to have that.
Yeah.
Because it's very, very, very easy, isn't it, to say to someone, yeah, just take it. Just quit your teaching, be flexible. But it's not an option for everyone.
Mm.
So I feel very, very lucky, which I need to keep reminding myself, because it can be quite a drag sometimes. You know, I'm working from home a lot of the time. There's lots to get done. Everything's kind of off our own backs. You know, we're self-employed essentially right now. Everything we do, you know, being self-employed, everyone out there who is self-employed or maybe has a partner who's self-employed will know how much hard work goes into that as well. It's not just teaching's awful. There's a utopia and everything else you come from. And the teachers work so hard. They do. Doesn't mean other people don't work hard. So it's not like we've just had an easy road now. But the flexibility is amazing. I think whilst I've got young children, I've said this, I'll say it again. Whilst I've got Rory, who's 2, the flexibility is the number one thing.
Yeah,
And even though we've taken a pay cut to do this, quite a sizable pay cut, I'd say, it's the time, the flexibility right now. I will never regret this. Do you know what I mean? Like when I'm 45, you know, if I need to step into a role and earn lots more money again and work 10 times as much, I will. And you know, I need to be answering to someone to be in the exact place at the exact time. Cool. But right now, this suits me. I can do work when I want. So to answer the question, there are pros and cons. It's not just a utopia now we've left, but it certainly suits me way more, and the pros are more beneficial for me.
Yeah, sure.
What
Is there
you-
anything I'll come to me in a minute. I'm going to quiz
Go
you
on.
for a while. I'm the interview. I'm leading this podcast.
Oh,
actually.
sorry,
If you didn't realise, actually, I'm.
Yeah, sorry.
We're going to go back to the episode where you talk 95% of the time.
Yeah.
Was there anything that
Well, every episode.
Yeah, every time. This is it now. I'm just the
Go on.
host.
Come on, Jonathan Ross.
Is there anything you didn't expect to miss that you do miss? You think, actually, God, I really do miss this from school, from the classroom,
Right.
that you maybe didn't anticipate straight away?
Unbelievably, I miss interacting with people.
That is very unbelievable for you.
Like, genuinely, because even though, you know, anyone who's worked with me will know that I keep myself
Yeah,
to
you're
myself. It's the kind of thing. I remember the head teacher even said to me once. He was like, "Oh, thank you, you do a great job. You just keep yourself to yourself and crack on." And he meant it only in a positive way. But I was like, "Oh, okay." It clearly does come across like I'm not the most chatty person. I don't really do small talk. But what I really enjoyed was still having a team. some people I could talk to every now and then, knowing that I was part of something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've still got that kind of community aspect with the team we're working with Mathsuit. They're amazing people. I absolutely love working with them. But a lot of time is now spent me sat in that chair over there doing work on the computer. Not necessarily the most inspiring work in the world. I knew that I'd miss actually teaching the children, and nothing comes close to that in terms of how to spend my time. But I knew that was going to happen. But yeah, in terms of your question, what do I not expect to miss? I think I find myself sometimes at like 2:30 thinking, oh, I've not actually interacted with another human being at all. You know, and even though I wasn't necessarily doing it with my colleagues all the time, I did it every now and then. I was interacting with people all the time. I had my kids in front of me all the time. I was constantly interacting, constantly talking, constantly chatting. Had my teaching assistants in the room whenever they were with me. I was part of a team. I missed that more than I thought I would.
Sometimes you don't realize the passive benefits of just being around people, even if you don't feel like you're actively going, I'm going to go and interact with this person. You're obviously interacting with people, including children, all the time. And you just take it for granted. I feel exactly the same. Like I knew that I had missed the kids, but I don't think I realized how much it would impact me mentally. Like I'm definitely struggling more than I thought I would in terms of just being at home all the time. People always said it. I guess I was kind of anticipating it based on the fact that everyone ever says to me who works from home, they're always like, oh, give it some time. You'll start getting bored. You'll get
you're a
itchy feet.
homebody.
I know, which is why I thought maybe I wouldn't really mind that much. But I think I do. Like I think sometimes the days go by and I don't feel like I'm naturally as motivated sometimes. And I'm like, oh, maybe I do just need to get out of the house and do something. So even the teaching days where you think you come home, you think, oh my God, that was such a slog. There was something to be said about the reward of coming home. And that sounds really silly.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like even when you've had a tough day, at the end of that day being like, you know what, I'm going to mark this in the morning. I'm going to head home. That felt nice. That felt good because it was so tough. I could appreciate how nice it was. Whereas when I'm at home, I'm like, I'll roll out of bed and walk 4 steps to my home office and then just work there all day. And then when the day kind of finishes, I'm like, what do I just move out of this room again? And then I'm back in my kitchen and that's kind of it. There's no, like, it's all closer.
Yeah.
And it's just odd. I never really anticipated this and how, like, mentally that makes, some days I just feel a bit like, ugh.
Yeah.
You know, like, there's not enough change happening. So that's the only bit I'd say I'm struggling with that I didn't really think of.
You know, we've been working with, we're building our maths platform. Yeah. And we're working with some people from a brand called StoryZoo. We spoke to Sophie on this podcast when we were leaving. She left teaching, went into that world.
Yeah.
And there was a few opportunities in the past where we've had to like go and physically do something with them. I went up to Birmingham recently to it was like a SEND show helping children with additional needs. And Sophie was running a stand with her husband, Sam. And I went as well, and it was us three. And we were talking to Senkos. And it was all about StoryZoo. You know, if you go and check out StoryZoo, it's this kind of platform that they're building to help home readers, to encourage reading. It's had some really, really good beneficial outcomes for children, just to get them being able to just access things that's suitable for them. And there's a lot of SEND kind of adjustments they're making in terms of, you know, that think of traditional overlays, etc. And there's a lot of discussion around that, but it's there as an option, the type of text you have when you want to read something. Accessibility options. Yeah. Go and have a look because it's really good what they're doing. But the point I had was just going there and being able to spend the day talking to people who are working as Senkos in school. That's kind of, I think, where my push recently has come from, being like, this is such a hard job for you guys. And every single person we spoke to was so passionate about helping children. And I miss that. I don't get that as much when I'm sat there. You know, we've been making arithmetic tests. You know, we've been sat there building arithmetic tests for every year group. Can't wait to release those as well. We're just plugging everything here. But it's really exciting. It's really fun. But nothing can replace being in a room with passionate people. Being in a room and talking to people who are passionate about helping children. And I'm going to take every opportunity I can. Do you know what I mean? I want to go to shows. We're going to go to the BET show in January. Talk to some educators. We're going to go to as many as we can, and I think we need to keep doing that. That's what I'd reflect and I'd say to you now. Like, we have to keep making sure we have things in our calendar that are physical, face to face, talking to people who work in schools all the time.
Definitely.
It's good.
And getting in schools. I know we've been invited to a school to come and see how they do continuous play, and I'm like, I'm buzzed. I want to do that so badly. I just want to get in school, and honestly, I just want to be in that buzz again and just interact with.
Well, if you're listening, invite us along.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, especially if you're in Kent, if you're at a school in Kent, we'll happily come to your school and have a look around and have a chat. It'd be really good.
Bumble around, just walk around pretending we're retired.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're just retired. We just walk around schools now.
There's one thing I wanted to talk about. Whilst we're doing this catch up, you talked about things that maybe you didn't realize would be a negative. Has there been any point then in the last couple of months where you thought, oh my God, yeah, this is what I thought. This is what I expect. It's better than I thought.
Definitely, and it is very much linked to your whole flexibility thing. Is the fact that we're in complete control now of when we do things. So there have been multiple occasions now where I've literally said to you, I am doing this thing with my daughter and Lauren all day today. I'll do the bits of work we're doing tonight.
You do it all the time.
All the time, every day, in fact. And I don't do it in the evening, no. But like, that is such a privilege. And it's so easy to very quickly forget how much of a privilege that is because it just becomes your normal life.
Yeah.
And I'll look at other people, you know, I'll realize it's the school run. I didn't realize, you know, there'll be loads of people frantic going around.
What are these people doing on the streets? God.
Get out of here. You know, get out of my way. I'm trying to have a nice day. And then it's those moments where I'm like, oh, yeah. The majority of people are just, whether they like it or not, just at work doing their job right now. And in this moment, the flexibility that I've managed to have, and yes, it did come at, like you said, a massive pay cut. I'm not going to pretend that everything has just exponentially got better. But that is a huge perk. And that to me, I'm like, oh God, I don't think I could trade this back in because I can spend some time with my child now at times when I normally wouldn't be able to. So that's really lovely.
Do you think, I'm listening to this now, and I'd love to know what people are thinking. Because my thought genuinely is just like, oh, shut up, you two. Going on and on about how great it is and how, you know, people can't do it, etc. And there's loads of people listening who are on their way to school who are wishing maybe they had something similar. And it's not necessarily maybe helpful to hear us have this conversation. Obviously, we're going to catch up about it. It's been real. So I guess maybe the last thing we can round up on then is just, do you think we've already lost a bit of touch with teaching? Do you think we've already lost a little bit of something? Or is it just a case of just, we're describing how it is, guys? I don't think we've lost touch yet.
I think everyone thinks they don't lose touch. And I don't think I've lost touch at all with teaching. And maybe that's due to the fact that it has only been a couple of months for a start.
Yeah.
I don't personally think I've lost touch with teaching. I think because we do this and we're still so involved in education, I think maybe if I'd quit teaching to go and work on the trains.
Right.
And that was what I did. And I just had no involvement in education anymore. Then maybe after a couple of months, I'd start to lose touch. But I think because we keep our ear to the ground and we talk to a lot of educators and we keep up with the news and we do this podcast and we're obviously researching things.
I run their socials.
You run all the socials and build our Instagram up to 50k followers, that sort of thing. I think, therefore, I don't think I've lost touch. You?
No, I don't think I've lost touch at all.
No.
I don't think at all.
Do you think we will?
And there'll be a point where we do, maybe. There'll certainly be a point where we do in terms of from the outlook of a classroom teacher.
Yeah.
That will happen. Like, with the best of intentions, you know, people who still stay in education and still maybe go and do some training or something, or, you know, just do, I'm just going to do a lesson every now and then, but I've got a million other things going on.
Yeah.
You just will naturally. But I think by, you know, submersing ourselves in this culture of talking to teachers all the time, we've got our WhatsApp community where we literally have over like 200 people in a WhatsApp community, talking to each other, helping each other out. I love keeping my ear to the ground here and really helping people. It's so good. Honestly, I would say to you, if you're looking for a community, click the link down below because it is really, really, really nice. And people are so lovely. I think that's what it is. I miss being around lovely people, and teaching and education and schools in general seem to attract the most lovely people I've ever met. You know, down to teaching assistants, you know, people who help serve the school dinners, site managers. Yeah. I'm talking about all those people as well as the obvious classroom teachers, etc. The people on the ground doing jobs and working in schools, they're not doing it for the pay. Are they? They're not doing it for the pay, let's be real. And they tend to be the most lovely people that want to help kids. And that's where I certainly feel like I'm missing it, because I'm talking to you, hates children and hates everything.
Yeah, don't know how I did 10 years.
But no, jokes aside, that's where I feel like I'm like, am I losing touch because I'm not in the classroom every single day? Eventually, I definitely will. I don't think I am. You know, we've got a huge listener base of this podcast now, and I'd like to think that they also don't think, please. Hopefully nothing that. We'll have a look.
If you do think it, don't tell us.
Well, if anything, if you look at the numbers on our podcast since we quit and started doing a couple episodes a week, listening to questions, building the community, it's grown, if anything. I think we're, I think our ears are well and truly to the ground. But yeah, personal, nice little catch up there. I would say it was the right choice. I don't have regrets, that's for sure. What about you? Do you have regrets?
Overall, no, I don't regret it. But like I said, like what I don't want to make people think is the grass is just always greener, like in every situation, because it genuinely isn't. I think I've been quite honest about a few of the things I struggle with at the moment, and I need to make some changes. Like I'm definitely gonna have to change my life a bit in terms of
exercise.
Genuinely, I know, you know, it sounds silly, but like
doesn't sound silly
in terms of like you normally make out of me because I'm doing exercise, but it's real. I need to, exercise, diet. Genuinely just getting outside of the house, looking after my mental health. Ironically, I feel like I have to do more than ever. And I come from a career in teaching where I felt like mental health was such a huge, like it's something, it was so high up in the priorities. You have to look after yourself because it can be such a burnout job. And ironically, my mental health feels like it's arguably in the most like it could potentially in the
Fragile.
fragile place it's ever been. So yeah, I don't know. It's just, I think it's good to talk about. I think we should be honest and not just say, oh yeah, it's all great.
And do you know what you need to do, genuinely? Be real with you right now. You need to just bloody do it, because you've been saying this to me for over a month.
I know.
And I'm doing this from a nice place now. Just do it then.
I'm doing it now.
Like,
I'm out of it. I'm off to exercise, guys.
That's the shortest episode.
It's great. It's been a great one. Thanks for tuning in.
No, but honestly, because I need to do it as well.
Yeah.
I'm talking to myself here. Just do it. Like, we all know what the right answer is. You need to bloody do it sometimes. Go for a half an hour walk in the day.
I get too obsessed with work.
Yeah,
I'm so bad at drawing.
You've always been bad at that.
I'll get up and I think I could go and do a run or something, or I could just get on with the thing I've been thinking about for the last 12 hours because I want to continue doing this job and building the thing we're building.
Yeah.
And I find it so hard to just be like, no,
Yeah.
set a boundary. You're not doing that. You're doing this thing first, and then you can carry on with your work. You might get a bit less done today.
Bit fewer done.
That's not right this time. You might get a bit less done, but that's okay. And I really struggle with that. I'm like, oh no, I can't. How can I possibly get less done than I've already planned out in my head?
Yeah. Yeah,
so,
that you've made
up
in
your
your head.
Yeah, completely invented.
Yeah,
because I've done, like, we're literally accountable to ourselves. I cannot use that excuse anymore. At least before I can say, yeah, well, the head teacher needs it done, or my team are waiting for this thing. It's like, no, I literally am making it up. So yeah, I need to.
I tell you what, your personality, very quickly, you have this workaholic thing, right? If you didn't have the top dog tutoring that we did and the side businesses, etc., and everything we're focusing on whilst we were teaching, you would have turned into the teacher that you say needs to calm down and not do stuff.
Probably.
And you would have said that, but still done all the stuff you would have done for school. You kind of built that for you on the side, where you could go away and spend 3 hours a day doing something different, and easily be like, no, you need to say no to work. So it's very interesting.
So true.
You would have really struggled to be the person listening to us, I think, unless you had the side stuff.
I don't think that would have happened ever. I don't think that reality could have happened, because I think the only reason I did all of that stuff is because I also immediately appreciated that is not okay in terms of doing all that extra free workload. And I was like, if I'm going to do that, I'm going to channel it somewhere
for my business,
else, for my business, where I'm not just giving up all my time for free for nothing. Like,
great point.
So like, I don't think I was ever gonna do that.
Yeah, brilliant. I was always gonna do something else. That's a good point. Definitely.
Anyways, right. I've got a little game for you. So last week you had a little game for me.
I embarrassed you.
You embarrassed me because I didn't know what PTFA was, which haunts me. I couldn't believe it.
Parent, teachers,
Friends Association, Dylan. I learned that.
I love, by the way, if you go back and listen to it, you said a word that doesn't begin with A after.
I know. It was, I said trust or something like that.
Yeah, trust. PTFT.
I literally thought that. And I'm glad you brought it up. Thanks for embarrassing me again.
No problem.
So I'm going to try and embarrass you now. I've got literally just 5 questions and they're true or false.
Okay.
That is it.
Okay.
All right. So let's see if you have lost touch
Go on.
with education. So here we go.
Okay. All right.
Let's just see. Right. 24.7% of pupils in state-funded schools in England were eligible for free school meals in January 2025. Is that true or false?
False. I think it's higher.
You think it's higher?
Yeah.
It's not 24.7%. You're correct. It's false. It's 25.7%. Free school meal eligibility is up from the previous year, despite there being 60,000 fewer children in school.
Oh my gosh.
60,000 fewer children in school
and
than the
more
previous year. But free school meal eligibility is higher.
Yeah, it's true. Like, I'm glad I got that right, because I remember a cohort that I had one year quite recently went to, I think it was 34% free school meals, because we were working in a slightly more deprived area.
Think about how many kids that is.
I knew it was more deprived area we worked in, but then like, again, if you think about the average is 25%, right? There'll be people listening going, oh, my school's 42%, my school's 45%. It just shows you the range we have and the postcode lottery that we have. And funnily enough, I've seen schools before who can do lots of amazing stuff for their children because they have that higher percentage. Yeah. That's how it should work, isn't it? You know, if these children in lower deprived areas, schools should get a bit more money to be able to then provide. I know a local school near me who has a very high level of pupil premium, free school meal eligibility, who have made the decision to have free school meals for everyone.
Yeah, I know
exactly. For everyone who goes to that school, they have free school meals. And I'm just like, fantastic. You know, whether you fall into eligibility criteria or not, you should still get more if you need that. But all they did was they looked at their community and they went, do you know what? Okay, this line we've made. Let's just serve our community and feed children. And I was like, oh, so good. And they have a really high, level of need. And it just took that out for parents. Just take that out completely because they had the funding to do it.
As it should be.
Yeah, definitely.
As we should be doing. It's mad to think that people would be like, have such, like, I know there'll be people out there that will be like, that's terrible, that's wrong.
You should feed your own children.
Exactly like that.
Okay, you should.
Cool.
You should. I don't care though. I'm going to feed kids.
Yeah.
I'm going to feed kids. And like, okay, you can honestly sit there and tell me why that's wrong till you're red in the face. And I'll just be like, all right, well, I think we should feed kids.
Yeah.
It's the end of the discussion.
Yeah,
They're
care.
children. I don't care. I just don't. The parents should feed them. Okay, they can spend that money on something else.
Yeah.
Okay,
They can take it and go to the museum now.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, whatever. I don't care. Don't care.
They can go and take Rory to look at
Oh,
trains.
they'll just be going to buy some fags from Corner Shop. They were going to do that anyway.
Yeah.
They were going to do that anyway. It just means they had less money for their children at the end. So if we cover the food, there's more money for the kids.
Yeah. We can guarantee something.
Yeah.
That they're going to get fed.
100%. Oh, well, they just fed them. Kid got fed. I ended it. Kid got fed. There you go.
Sorry to say as well, you're being passionate and you ignored my joke about taking Rory to see trains. So can you please acknowledge the fact that I'm joking about
We
that?
went to see Rory. We went to see Rory. We took Rory to see some trains. Funny enough, his ticket was free. So there's no money.
And how long did he spend looking at that same train?
Oh my goodness me. A long time. Like father, like son. Who wants to press that button to make the train go.
So funny.
Yeah, it was really good. It's the Wonderworks in Margate. If anyone is like remotely local to where we are, it's like a hidden gem. Something we just didn't know about. But anyway, 1-0 to me.
1-0, a bit annoyingly. So next question.
By the way, sorry, very quickly, you didn't give me much leeway on that answer, did you? It's actually higher. It's 0.01% higher. Well done.
Annoyingly, that was the joke, but you were so in the zone. I thought, I'll brush over it. I literally may change it by 1%, hoping you'd get it wrong, and then get annoyed at the fact that I'd made it 1% different. And you got it right.
I got it right, and I still got annoyed.
I was like, no.
Right, let's wait for this next
You ruined my joke.
There were
Right, here we go.
6,424,321 children in the UK.
Right, okay, ready?
Yep.
The North East has seen the biggest fall in trainee teachers in England, down by 56% since 2019-2020.
Right, okay, listen. Is the true or false thing here the exact number fall, or is it that the Northeast is dropping?
It's a true or false game, mate.
Oh my God, you really set me up.
It's a true or false game.
True.
Damn it! You're ruining my game! It's true. I was supposed to throw you off and you're like,
2-0, baby.
Oh, you've messed me up. It is true.
Your narrative is not working.
It's really, really ruined my
Every
game.
single rest of them is true, isn't it?
I tell you what, if you get, I'll actually be, considering I've purposely made this to try and make you get it wrong so I can make a fool of you. If you get 5 out of 5 on this, I'm walking out and doing some exercise.
No. and get me a pack of Whisper Gold.
I promise you.
All right, go on. Can I get a Whisper Gold per answer? I'm already on 2.
This is the deal. Okay, I'm going to go middle ground.
Go on.
If you get 4 or 5 out of 5,
okay.
I'll give you a bit of leeway there of 1. Right. I will go to Tesco's after this and buy you a pack of Whisper Golds.
I can't wait to post that with no context on Instagram. And then when people eventually listen to this episode,
that is the deal.
They'll know why.
Bearing in mind, by this point, I was adamant you'd be on 0 out of 2.
2.
And you're on 2. So just to repeat that one, because in case you want to talk about it, the North East has seen the biggest fall in trainee teachers in England, down by 56% since 2019-2020. Why do you think that might be?
It's very quickly. If it was down by 54%, would you have said I was wrong in saying it was true?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Setting the bar.
I was really hoping that you were going to try and double bluff me and think you've made up, you've changed it by 1. And I'm like, no, it's true.
Do you know what? I'm not even going to pretend to be an expert on this kind of thing in terms of different parts of the country, but it doesn't surprise me. And again, if we've got listeners up in the Northeast, I'd love to hear more, because I'm always hearing in the news about the North-South divide, the amount of money in different areas, deprivation, etc. It doesn't shock me that that's been lowering up there. It's a real shame. We need as many teachers from as many different backgrounds as possible, and it's such a shame when it feels sometimes like affluence links to, how many teachers we get, and it's like a huge amount of teachers are, white middle class people, and I think it's best for our children to have the most diverse range of teachers, not only racially, obviously, but just in terms of, affluence, class, etc. Kids need to see everyone. So the more the better. And it's worrying that, that part of the country seems to be falling.
Yeah, it's down a lot. I was genuinely shocked at the number.
That's
like,
huge.
It's such a huge amount. Right, next one. Honestly, ruining my game.
2-0.
20% of pupils in the 2024 to 2025 academic year were classified as persistently absent. And just to make sure you know exactly what that means, that is they missed 10% or more of possible sessions. That's how you define persistently absent.
It's false. It's fewer. It's less than that, I think.
He's got 3 out of 3. It is false, not for that reason.
Oh!
It was the 2023 to 2024 year.
Damn
it!
Yes!
I can't believe how much you've ruined this game. So
I thought it was in the teens, that percentage. That's interesting. Maybe when I saw it was in the teens.
It has come down a bit. So for context, the previous, 2022 to 2023, it was 21.2%, and it went down to 20%. So it's ever so slight change.
Do you think fines are working?
Yeah, I don't know. It's still 20% of children.
Yeah, it's a lot. Isn't it?
That's so much persistently absent. Just
Maybe those 1% become homeschooled.
yeah, potentially. I don't know, but yeah, I thought that was a shocking.
That's a high bar though, isn't it? As well, to have that many reaching that high of a bar. What was the definition again?
So they missed 10% or more of possible sessions.
So in sessions, because absence is done in sessions, which is 2 a day.
Mm.
So that's why you do 2 registers, morning and afternoon.
Yeah.
So 10%. So that's 1 session. That's half a day every week.
Yeah.
So 1 day every 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So 1 in 5 children are missing more than a day every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot, isn't it?
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
I guess if you have a week-long holiday, that ratio means, what's that? Well, a week-long holiday is 10 sessions.
Yeah.
So that's 10 weeks, right? So you can go on 1 week-long holiday.
Yeah, that's such a good point.
If you go on 1 week-long holiday in a big term,
Mm.
you are technically could be classed as persistently absent.
Yeah.
But then I guess, yeah, that's interesting.
And even if, like, let's say if you took the holiday out right across the whole year, let's say
Yeah.
you wouldn't have tipped into that persistently absent bit, but the holiday topped it up.
So 10% on 190 days, that's 19 days.
Yeah.
So 19 days off a year is persistent. 19 days off a year sounds like quite a lot.
It does, doesn't it?
Like,
Yeah.
you know, we talk about how it's fine to take children out every now and then. If you're ill, you shouldn't come into school. And I'm sure there's some absences out there that go above that, and it's all completely above board. It's like, yeah, you are persistently absent, but you should be. It's fine.
Yeah.
And it does sound like a lot though. Like,
Would it be 19 days? If it's 10% of missed sessions.
yeah, 10% though, isn't it? It's 10%.
Of missed sessions, though.
Yeah,
right?
but there's 190 days is 380 sessions.
Yeah.
So 38 sessions, which is 19 days.
Oh, I see. Yeah, okay. It works out.
10% works either way, mate.
Yeah. Do you know what I need? I need maths.
You need maths.
I need maths. Yeah, but crazy. That's that always. I think we talked about it a couple of years ago, and it hasn't changed much. Come down a tiny bit, but like
there's one stat I read about this recently. It was that Dylan's on 3-0.
it's crazy in a game designed to make you get 0.
Yeah, 3 out of 3
as well, which is
I just can't do quizzes badly.
Really quite annoying. Right, here we go. Ready?
Yeah.
In January 2025, average class sizes for infants, which is reception to year 2, dropped to 26.2, which is the lowest since 2009.
True.
Oh, we're gonna have to re-record this whole podcast when you lose because you're on, which you've guaranteed a packet of Whisper Golds. You've guaranteed a packet of Whisper Golds.
I saw a stat about 26 point something. I just hedged it.
I thought, do you know what? I was so adamant that you'd go false because I was like, we've talked about how class sizes are getting ridiculous.
No, here's the thing, Hayden. I just have knowledge of stuff. You can't trick
Shut
knowledge.
up.
You can't trick facts. You just can't get around it.
Honestly,
I saw something about 26 points because I remember thinking to myself,
really,
what schools are these? How's the average 26.2?
Like, and it's dropped to that, which is the lowest since 2009.
Wow.
And the reason behind that is very, very simple. I'm sure you can guess.
It has dropped. It is true. Just reiterating
it is true.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
Oh, just because I'm right.
Right. It's the birth rate. We've talked about the birth rate before, but the birth rate is so low right now. So in those early years, there's just not as many children.
It's interesting how the averages will like kind of fluctuate and change in terms of school closures. Because like as schools begin to close, because like they're just going from 3 form to 2 form, maybe 1 form entry schools closing, the average will be bumped back up again.
Yeah, that's
because
true.
there's fewer classes.
That's
so watching that over time, it'll be interesting to see because I can't imagine the government letting it get too low.
Yeah, that's such an interesting point. Because if they close enough schools, you can make the average as high as you want. If you just cram enough kids into fewer schools.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to watch that. Maybe I will continue to watch that and keep my ear to the ground, not losing touch of education, clearly, because I've got 4 out of 4. I've secured my Whisper Gold. We almost don't need to do this. I don't ruin my 100%.
This is for glory.
Okay, I can abstain if I want to.
No, you can't abstain. This is for glory. I'm going to read out this. This is hilarious now. I'm going to read out this little bit I wrote to myself.
It's false.
I wrote this little note to myself here.
Yeah, false.
I was meant to say to you at this point.
Yeah.
A little hint for you as you're doing so bad. That's what I wrote down here.
Yeah, false.
Just think about the last one we just talked about to help you answer this last question.
False.
All right. Yeah. You're going with false, all right. The pupil to teacher ratio for primary schools in England rose for the first time in recent years, meaning there were more pupils per teacher on average than previous.
That's true.
What makes you think that?
I think I've read that somewhere again. Like when people you have stats out there that make it sound like it's improving. And the government, we've improved this. I think that could be true. But then I'm thinking about the whole premise of this game, and you give me a hint to basically walk me towards it being true. I feel like you might have written that knowing it's false.
Okay. What are you settling for?
I think retention. I think recruitment's got quite good as well, actually. And there's fewer children than ever.
So, final answer.
Read the question one more time.
One more time, okay. And I said, think about the last one, which is about the fact that class
you said
sizes
that,
have
but
dropped.
I think you're going against. You're trying to make me.
Maybe. The pupil to teacher ratio for primary schools in England rose for the first time in recent years, meaning there were more pupils per teacher on average than previous years.
That means I think it's false. There were more pupils. No, that's false. Sorry.
It's true.
No!
Yes. Yes.
I said true, to be fair, the whole time.
You're such an idiot. You're such an idiot. I can't believe you got 4 out of 5 on this game. When you said true at first, did you not see me go, why do you think that? Thinking like, oh, come on.
No, you really... do you know what? Do you know what's really interesting? The only time I let gameplay get into my head, I got it wrong.
Yeah, I know, right? You went true. That's so funny.
Gosh.
So I thought that was genuinely interesting, though, considering... Because I was a bit like, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. Well, teachers leaving, not replacing them.
Yeah, so it's as simple as this, right? Even though class sizes are getting smaller because the birth rate's smaller, teachers are leaving even faster than kids aren't being born. How mental is that?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like, it's going even faster down.
That's nuts.
I just can't believe that.
Yeah, I can see that though, because we left teaching,
Yep.
and our roles were not advertised. It was just like, oh, okay, we'll make do. We're going to downsize a bit. So yeah, I can see that. Be interesting again to watch over time, like how that changes when schools close maybe and classes close now.
Last year, do you know how many teachers left?
Wasn't
Overall, this includes obviously.
Wasn't it 40,000?
41,000. Yeah.
Because it was a bit lower than the year before. So
Yeah,
obviously
year
Labour were like,
before.
see, it's lower.
That's right. Yeah.
Right, but we've not replaced them though.
Yeah.
So
Year
what's the
before-
replacement rate?
Not much. Year before was 43,500.
Yeah.
And it went down to 41,200.
Yeah, it was something like 0.5% or something. Something like that.
There we are. Interesting. One last stat I'll just give you, I thought was just related. 11% of NQT or ECTs, sorry, newly qualified teachers, 11% of them quit within the first year.
That's mental.
That's mad, isn't it? Because I know we're quite often talking about how many quit within the first 3 years, and I saw this stat and I was like, that's interesting. Within the first year of teaching, it's like 11%.
They've done a lot of training.
A tenth of our newly qualified. Most of these people would have paid as well
Yeah.
money to go
Gone
and
into debt,
train.
yeah.
Some of them done 3 years at university, some done 1. Some would have done paid routes in, and maybe that contributes to it a bit. But a tenth are like, nah, I'm not doing this job.
Crazy. I can't get over the fact that my percentage I said a minute ago was wrong. That's what I've been thinking about. It's not 0.5%, it's 5%.
I see.
Going from 43, going to 43,000 to 41,000 is 2,000, which is about 5%.
You know when someone has like a glazed look? When I could see you are absolutely
Working
in your
something
head
out.
thinking, I don't know what he's thinking about, but I'll buy him some time
I'm
by talking
sorry.
about NQTs.
I'm sorry, guys.
So there we go. Thanks for, I tell you what, I spent a lot of time thinking about that game and how I could structure it to make you look like a fool. And I am kind of annoyed that you completely ruined it.
Backfired, isn't it?
Yeah, big time.
You're talking to someone who was on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Yeah.
I've been on Tenable.
Yeah. Oh, this
I've
guy.
been on Impossible.
This guy.
I've been on 1,000 Heartbeats. I've done TV quizzes, Hayden.
Yeah, all right, mate.
You can't penetrate this.
Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? YouTube it. Dylan Price, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
It's on there, baby.
He won some money.
Big thanks to my
Tell you
friend
that.
who helped me out. Found a friend. Right, should we...
It
should
wasn't
we,
me.
Wait, it was not you.
Not after this
I have the
bloody quiz.
list of my friends who I want to help me.
Honestly.
You'd be below my inanimate desk. Like I would rather phone my
On your
inanimate desk and say, "Hiya, what do you think?"
Nothing. Makes
I'd
noise,
rather-
does it?
It's better. Yeah, it's a desk that moves. Thank you.
I see.
It's not inanimate then, is it?
Yeah, it's not animate. It
It's very
moves.
much
You
animate.
fool. You shouldn't be going on any quiz shows.
Oh gosh, right? Should we? We've gone very old school here. Halfway through the episode,
Yeah.
not remotely touched what we're going to talk about. Let's do that. All right, jokes aside, you came with an idea for this episode. You wanted to talk about dealing with parents, and I think that's huge. I think that's a really huge part of teaching. And you want to get it right. You want to be able to deal with parents professionally, but there are also times when something's just unacceptable. So we're going to try and go through a guide here you've put together of how best to deal with parents in general.
Very much so. So some of these are just tips, things you can do, and just quick actions. And some of them are more like just ways to be or just policies to follow and things you should be looking out for when you're actually in the school.
Cool.
So I'm going to start off with number 1 is my favorite tip. And I say this because our head teacher often referenced this as Hayden's thing. I definitely stole it from someone else in the past. But it's called the positive sandwich.
Oh, I love the idea of anyone in the world thinking that you invented it.
I know.
Oh, I didn't invent this, guys.
Yeah.
No, I didn't invent this. What most traditional way of giving a concern ever.
But our head teacher did, didn't he? He'd often before like parents' evening, he'd be like, "Remember, guys, Hayden's good old positive sandwich. It's mine, is it?"
I don't think he was saying you invented it.
I think he did.
I think he was saying that you do it and it's good.
Look, you've ruined enough of this podcast. Don't ruin me as well.
I love the idea.
Give
You've
that
got
to me.
choreography. People think I made this.
Yeah, people
I came up with the idea of not just giving bad news, but rather giving good news, either side of it.
It works though. So just to clarify, for those that are thinking, I don't really know what this is. A positive sandwich is simply this: when you want to deliver some feedback that is simply awkward for any reason, because perhaps it's negative about the child or whatever, don't just go straight in with that. It's so easy just to get yourself worked up, and then you just start this conversation. You say, "Oh," and you say the bad thing, and you get the parents back up because they're thinking, "No, like no one wants to hear bad things about their child." Start with something positive. Like have a positive conversation with this parent first. Then you can weave in the bad thing. And then you can, the filling, the lovely, lovely, sweet, juicy filling of negativeness in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And then you come back round after it. Don't leave it on that either. It's just as bad starting with it as leaving it.
Yeah.
Come back round to something positive at
I've
the
got
end.
an issue.
Okay.
That's not a positive sandwich.
Why not?
That's a negative
Yeah,
sandwich.
okay, all right.
It's a negative sandwich.
It is.
I don't have a jam sandwich where I have jam bread jam. Right? That's a bread sandwich. Okay? This is what you've just described is not a positive sandwich.
so true.
So first thing, I'm going to carry on my ruining.
I did invent
Completely
it.
wrong. You did.
I did invent
You
it.
did, because what you did was you were the positive sandwich. You gave awful things either side.
But negative sandwich sounds so bad, doesn't it?
Because
Or
don't
you
matter,
can do the old
it's
negative
wrong.
sandwich. Ooh, that doesn't sound good, does it?
That's not you.
That gets my back up.
That's not on me if you misunderstand what I'm saying. It's not my fault, mate.
Look, I'm calling it the
Right, should we
positive
role
sandwich.
play? Let's role play a negative sandwich. Okay. I'm going to be the teacher. Okay.
All right.
You're the adult. All right. So I'm
Yeah,
going to role
okay.
play it for people.
Oh, okay.
Hi, can I have a quick word, please?
Yeah, of
Just
course.
over
Everything
to
all right?
Johnny. Yeah, no, it's all good.
Johnny's
It's fine.
okay?
No, he's absolutely fine.
Do you want him
Listen,
here?
Just a few things. No, yeah.
Go over there, John. Go and play with. Go ahead.
Just a quick one.
Yeah.
So, first things first. His hair looks great today. I love what you did with his hair. It's fantastic. Throw a chair at my face.
Oh,
Throw a chair at my face. No, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Because he had his shirt tucked in all day. Thank you. Bye.
Right. I think there's one thing you said I want to go back to actually in this conversation, which is that his hair looked good. I really did spend some time on that this morning, so thank you so much for mentioning that. The thing in the middle, I can't remember what we said, but yeah, he's a lovely kid.
Yeah, throw a chair at my head.
Lovely, he's a lovely kid. Lovely kid.
But
Really-
let's not let that get lost. Oh, my positive bread
Right,
to think about
out
it.
of the role.
Go on.
That was not a good example of a positive or negative
Okay,
sandwich.
so be really, 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 really clear here then.
Yeah.
What does it actually look like? Because, you know, it sounds good. It sounds a bit gimmicky to me, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah,
but
sure.
I do think it's a really powerful way of doing this. So what does it actually look like?
I think you gave an example of how it can be gimmicky. Exactly that. You have to do it meaningfully. Everything has to be real. You've got to do things in a real way. If a positive sandwich doesn't mean just think of some surface level made up thing that's nice just so you can quickly get to the bad thing. It means genuinely have a conversation with the parent and actually say something real to them about how you like their kid. There shouldn't be a child where you cannot think of one single positive thing in that entire year about anything they've ever done that you can't be real about. Even if it comes down to progress in something that you think that they've struggled with before. Yeah, I don't know, man. Think of one or two.
Do you think a sandwich in this way can be done over time? Because I think the problem where I think it's quite gimmicky is where you try and do this in 10 seconds. Because you're thinking, I've got a negative thing to say about this child. But I heard Hayden on the podcast say I've got to do something positive first. So I'm going to try and just nip it in, but it is after school, I'm grabbing you quick. Because to me, the best way to do this is over time where it's like, I've already done the positive part. Like I've already built it up. That took me like 3, 4, 5 weeks where I was happy talking to the parent. I was building up that rapport. I was going to them saying positive things just on its own. It doesn't have to be a sandwich all the time. It's just, wow, he did really well today with his phonics. Like he tried so hard and he's learning so much. Well done. Finish. Next time. He behaved so well today in assembly. I couldn't believe how well he listened to the head teacher. It was so respectful. Well done. Finished. Like build. Because then when you give the bad news, you could still argue it's within the context of what you're saying essentially is don't just give bad news.
Sure.
But it's not in the moment. It's like, well, I've spent time building this up. Like I feel like what you're saying here is done best over time, not in a slot.
I think that works really well. And I think that works really well with a lot of parents. But I do still think that there are some children, some situations, even some parents, if you think about their personality, where they just will not be able to take bad feedback or their child regularly receives negative feedback.
Sure.
And there are just some situations where I feel like you just can't get away with just saying that negative thing because you feel like you've built, because maybe you haven't. Maybe there genuinely hasn't really been many opportunities before and you've had a lot of negative conversations about the child because they are genuinely really misbehaved. But you should still, when you're talking to those parents, still look for, it's still their baby at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You should still try to look for something positive and not give off the feeling to them that you just don't like that kid. Because sometimes people get that feeling, whether you think it or not. It's not about you at this point. It's actually just about that perception.
Yeah.
No parent should be walking away from school feeling upset, thinking that you just don't like that kid. That just shouldn't be a thing. And the positive sandwich, I think, comes in clutch in those situations. I'm not saying it's for every situation. The negative sandwich, whatever you want to call it, sharp. It does. It just works because you can say, and it has to be meaningful, like I said. You can say, look, They were working so well, better than they have done the last few weeks. I know we had a trouble a few weeks ago. They've really been trying to improve, but today it just got the best of them.
Mhm.
And then you can go into it. But even that one sentence before of just saying they've been really trying hard, and I've really appreciated the fact that they've come in every day and done this thing.
It can be linked to the negative thing, but it still can be positive.
Exactly. You're still starting in a way that shows you care about this child holistically, and you don't just want to quickly get to that parent and tell them how horrible that kid is and then go crack on with your day.
And then finish with the positive.
Exactly. And then go back to a positive and say, like, so what I want to do is see a bit more of this. He's done, do you know what? Something he's done fantastically recently. He's been coming into school and he's held the door for me 3 times this week, and I've said thank you, and he's smiled at me. And I really want to big him up for that.
And then he threw a chair at my head.
No, I've already done that bit. I've done that in the middle. I'm going back to the end.
It's a double sandwich. bread filling.
We've all been there. You've got
Like
bread,
Scooby-Doo.
filling. It's 17 negative.
Sorry, 1 second. I'm on the tomato at the minute. So wait a minute.
What's
He
the
threw
limit?
a glue stick at a child. Now I'm on the beef burger. he decided to break some pencils in the classroom. It's a big sandwich.
Yeah. What is the limit of how many negative things you can put within the 2 positives? Don't know.
Yeah.
But
For it
either
to be
way,
a negative sandwich.
I'm sure there's some nuances to this, but I hope the idea of
Jokes aside, I think you're absolutely right.
Comes across.
It's basically comes down to this, doesn't it? You don't want the parent to think they're out to get your kid.
Yeah.
Okay. And whether you are or not, you're absolutely right. It's perception. It is perception at the end of the day. And yeah, I don't think you have to bend over backwards all the time. I think sometimes you have to just say it as it is.
Definitely.
I don't personally think every single time you do something you have to shoehorn this in. That's my personal belief. I think it's a nice, good technique. It gets to the point where I think it's more than fine just to say to someone, look, this happened today, it's unacceptable.
I agree.
End.
I agree. And should be really clear.
Powerful sometimes.
This is just a technique.
Yeah.
This is just something to have up your sleeve. I've used it before where I felt like I have had 4 conversations in a row that were negative, and I think, do you know what? This is just isn't good. This isn't a good perception of this child. So, and I'll use it.
Can I talk about one thing? Maybe you can give me some advice on
One
this,
thing.
Just one thing. I've found before multiple times that I've put off speaking to a parent when something is kind of brewing, or I see a kind of issue, and I'm like, you know what, it's fine. I'll just deal with it. It's fine. I'll try and stay on top of it. It's got progressively worse, but it's just like it's creeping up. Not enough where it's a full-blown thing, and I'm like, okay, obviously it needs to go to the head. But enough where actually it gets to the end. It's almost like a lobster in boiling water. You know, you don't realize what's happening until, oh, wait a minute. This was like a 2-month thing. And it's ended here. And now I've got to go and speak to the parent about this. And it's really awkward because I've got to go with 7 other things that have happened that link to it. And there's no way I can say this without them thinking, why didn't you raise this earlier?
Yeah.
So how on earth can we go about that? Like, when do we know how to break the ice with a parent? What is the line? Do you go to your leadership first, the line manager, your year group leader? What do you think is the best way to do this?
I'd say over time you do start to build up an understanding of that line, but definitely at the start of your career, I would absolutely recommend talking to other teachers, other staff, go to your senior leadership team and just be honest and say, this is the situation. What do you think I should do about it? Sometimes they will say, oh, do you know what? I think I need to get involved, and they'll take it off your hands. Other times they will give you just really good advice, and it's normally, which is literally tip number 2 from here, being preemptive, not allowing it to get to that point, like you just said there, getting in there straight away and having that slightly awkward conversation to save an extremely awkward conversation a month later when it all blows up. So being preemptive, getting in there with communication is really, really, really important when it comes to talking to parents. At the end of the day, it's their child. They're going to want to know what's going on, even if you think it's a bit awkward, even if they get a bit defensive in that moment, it is still objectively, ultimately better for them to know what their child has been doing. If you feel like they should know that, they probably should.
How important is keeping records of what's been said and what's going on? Like, because obviously we're talking about parents in general here, and I've dealt with a lot of parents. 98% of parents have been absolutely lovely.
Yeah,
absolutely lovely. 1% maybe neutral, 1% maybe problematic. What's your deal on keeping records, or writing things down of what's happened? How stringent should we be? Like, should we do it with some parents but not with others?
Yeah, sure.
No, what's that look like?
I think with the majority of parents, genuinely, like, you're not going to have these really horrible interactions all the time and these dire relationships between you and parent, but in those situations where you do, and I have had a few before where I can honestly say, like, I would get anxious about the idea of talking to a particular parent, because our relationship just was quite negative and they didn't, they weren't very fond of the school for whatever reason. The best advice I ever got that year was write down everything they say to you, because this parent was particularly manipulative and would 2 months later say, well, the teacher didn't tell me that last time. Sure. They told me to do this, and there's no evidence of it. Write down things they say to you. Keep any letters if they write in things. Keep emails. Put them in an inbox, folder, whatever. just to protect yourself.
Yeah.
And you know what? Nothing happened to me in that situation. I'd heard that it had happened before, that someone had been called out on something that just did not happen and there was no proof. I kept it all. End of the year, it got shredded and done with it.
Mhm.
But if it did, if something came up later and I didn't have evidence of, actually, no, I didn't say that, I said this, and I wrote down the conversation we had there and then on that day, this is the log of it, this isn't true, then I could have been in a tricky situation. And it's not about you not trusting anyone.
Sure.
It's not about that. It's just about protecting yourself.
So how wide then is the net for this? Like, you know, you're saying write things down. That's a huge job if I write absolutely everything down that I have with a parent, interaction. But I can see why it might be useful to have for everyone, because you simply don't know. You're like, you might have what you think is a really fine relationship with a parent, and then it turns sour, and actually, oh God, I wish I had that. So,
I think we just have to appreciate the fact that the majority of parents aren't going to be like this. We have to accept that. Like, I think if you start thinking 100% of parents can be like this, and you're going to create some mad workload for yourself. You need to go off your gut, in my opinion.
Mhm.
There are just the odd time where you think, and your gut might even be the fact that the previous teacher said this parent was quite tricky and caused me a lot of ag last year. Just bear that in mind, and then you think to yourself, right, okay, I'm going to keep some communication for this parent, and it might just develop over time. You don't need to do it the whole year for everybody in case it starts changing. If it does start changing, then you can start writing things down if you need to. But in all honesty, my whole career, I probably did this like 3 times, like literally 3 times over 10 years.
Yeah.
All those parents, like it's not something that happens loads, but you should just have it in mind to protect yourself if you feel like things are going that way.
We had like an unwritten rule in our career, and all the schools I worked with, it'd be interesting to hear if listeners have this too, where if you were talking to a parent, like they caught you after school or whatever it might be, always, you know, if someone else was doing it, I'd be keeping an eye out.
Yeah.
And if I was talking to a parent, I'd be looking around just to see if there's someone nearby. And the only point is, just almost like you're saying, it's kind of like keeping a record, but it's just another pair of eyes. It's just someone like a witness almost, you know.
I agree.
Especially if it's starting to get a bit of an awkward conversation. I always would just hang around. If I saw a colleague of mine talking to a parent and it was getting a bit heated, I'd just be there listening, and both people would know I was there.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be interrupting. I wouldn't be, you know, it's hard for me not to interrupt Hayden, as you know, but I wouldn't be getting involved at all. But I'd want both people to know that there's another adult just here.
I always love that awkward thing where it's like you're blatantly just standing around because there's the last parent left on pickup and the teacher's talking to them and you think, oh, I don't know if this is a positive conversation or not. And you're lingering around just like pretending as if you're doing something like, oh, what's that? What? Looking over there like, oh, is that gate closed? Yeah, I think so. And just have to check my watch as if like they don't, as if the parent's not going to work out. They obviously just stand. Just do it. Because you know what? Who cares about the awkwardness? Just stand around there so you're an extra pair of eyes. I agree. And brings me on to my next point really about if that conversation does go south and that parent starts getting angry and a raised voice, what would be your advice to someone in that situation? You're getting yelled at by a parent. What do you do?
Double down, shout back, make a scene, be the alpha dominant, and just go for him. Yeah.
Honestly.
No, look, try and stay calm. Try and separate it. Try and separate it out. I feel like I'm quite good at doing that, where I can just separate out and just think to myself, okay, I'm in the role of the teacher right now. If this was on the street and it was about something different, I know that I'd react differently. I'd be more likely to lose my temper as well. I'd be more likely to be like, this is just unacceptable, blah, blah, blah. But I can very much think to myself, I'm in the role of the teacher right now.
Yeah.
Okay, I need to stay calm and not match this energy. I need to not get personal. And don't be afraid to walk away.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to say, I cannot have this conversation right now whilst you're behaving the way you are. I'm more than willing to talk about it. Let's arrange a time to do so. And I'll have some leadership with me as well. We'll have a few people in the room. But what we're not going to do on the playground is have you shout at me and treat me like this. It's unacceptable. It's embarrassing. And there's lots of children and other adults here. So I can't allow you to do that, I'm afraid. It's not acceptable.
Yeah.
And I'd be very much to the line, very exact, and say that.
I feel like you've done that. You've said to a parent before, haven't you? Literally something along the lines of, you need to calm down, and when you calm, we can have a conversation.
Yeah, and still professionally. Yeah. Still in a way which is still acceptable. Because the parent was shouting at me. No, don't shout at me, please. I'm not shouting at you. You're allowed to have disagreements. I literally said this to them. I was like, you're allowed to not like how something's going on, and we can talk about that, and we can get to the bottom of it. And I think we can either understand, hopefully you can see why we've done it this way and come around to it, or it might be that we've done something wrong. Either of those options are available, but we need to sit and talk about it. You can't shout at me. Do
you find that normally actually hilarity, your confidence in that situation kind of diffuses it a bit?
Every time I've done it, it has.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pretend that it means every time it will work indefinitely, because there will be some people who are so angry where that doesn't help and they'll just shout effing and blinding at you. But every time I've done that, I think more often you're more likely to get a good outcome, where you can just be to the point, calm. Being calm helps. And I found, I don't know if you do this as a teacher as well, but sometimes I will talk for much longer than is like socially acceptable. and just keep going on and making another point. Do you know, like when you're telling your kids how really let down you are by your children,
Yeah.
and you've really gone too far this time, and you could just stop there, but you keep talking because you want to make the point to the kids. And I just can't believe it, guys. So whilst you're sitting there quietly thinking about what you've done, I just want you to remember that actually what you've done, you've gone too far. And as a teacher, I feel like we're a team. And you've just let me down. You've just let me down. And I know you're all thinking, oh, I wish he'd stop talking now, but you really need to understand this, guys. No, shush.
Yeah.
You need to know, and just keep going, keep going. I found with parents sometimes doing that, it makes them shush.
Yeah.
And it almost lets them calm down a bit because they're not able just to go motor mouth and go at you. So you just, you go 2 or 3 sentences too long, being calm, being very matter of fact. And then by the end, they are often just like, all right, fine. Let's talk then. So that's what I always try and do. And I think that's a good way to do it.
Definitely. I think another one's kind of on this topic of just interacting with parents in general is about gatekeeping your time. I feel like in teaching, it is just weirdly accepted that like teachers' time is just nothing. You just talk to them whenever you want. I'll grab you in the morning. I'll grab you after school. I'll ring you after school. And it's just very much like of course you do that. Of course you drop everything you're doing.
Wouldn't it be great if doctors were like that?
I always compare it to doctors. I'm like, that's just not how professional like sectors work. It doesn't work like that. We've obviously like our time is already filled. We don't reserve time for parent phone calls.
Yeah.
That's always going to be replacing something else. Yeah. So I think as a newer teacher, it's very easy to be like, I don't want to get anyone's back up. I couldn't possibly make anyone be offended or think badly.
Of course, I'll talk to you right now.
I'll talk to you right now. And I was in a situation, I'll get your opinion on this about like emails. Parents having direct email to you.
Right.
I was in a situation where I'd email at 9 p.m. I'd email at the weekend. I'd reply all the time. And there were even situations where if I hadn't replied over the weekend, a parent might be like, oh, I didn't get a reply from you. And it's like, mate, you emailed me at 7 p.m. on Saturday and now it's Monday morning. Like, what do you mean you haven't had a reply? Of course you haven't had a reply.
Yeah.
But I was not confident enough to say that back then. So I think a big tip here is be really confident of knowing your boundaries in terms of gatekeeping your professional time and personal time, and that it is completely acceptable to say, these are the hours that I'll reply within, and it won't necessarily be within 2 hours because there's lots of other things to do, and that's just how it is.
Yeah, a big thing for me on this is 2 things. Firstly, I don't like the idea of all parents having a direct line to your email from school. I don't like that. Okay, I think there should be some kind of gatekeeping involved there. However, a lot of schools do this, and okay, whatever. There's a lot of teachers who work there. I don't have to agree with everything, but some teachers do. So if you work in a school where actually parents do have that, I still think a lot of what you just said is absolutely right, but it falls on deaf ears when only 2 teachers are doing it. Okay, if you just if what you used to be like, and what you are now worked in classrooms next to each other, both in year 4, let's say, there'd be a bunch of parents who are getting replies quickly, and a bunch of parents here who aren't, and they'll obviously talk to each other and they'll be like, oh, you're getting in touch with the teacher much quicker. That's not acceptable, and it would look bad. So my point here is, you have to, when we're dealing with parents, and we're talking about this now, if your leadership listening to this, a lot of leaders do. And I appreciate them so much because it can come across sometimes that we're very much like, this doesn't work. But there's a lot of leaders who listen to this and understand what we're saying, which is trying to help everyone. You have to grab hold of this yourself, take control and say, look, these are the rules. These are the rules for getting in touch with our teachers. If you're going to be the person who gives them all the parents the emails of the teacher, that needs to come along with at least 2 working days allow for a reply.
Yeah,
my staff have got this time that I've allocated for them. Maybe I've even put it in their directed time calendar to look and reply to emails.
Yeah, right.
No, just imagine. But I think you need to take this.
Yeah.
What you can't do is just say, here it is. And by the way, guys, can you just reply to that, please?
Yeah. And if you happen to get that one parent that emails every day, it's like, you just got to deal with that now. Have you?
Exactly. So then again, as teacher, I'd be saying, for any consistent problems or for these types of issues, I don't expect my staff to reply to you, so please don't email them.
Yeah.
Therefore, when they do and they're emailing staff saying, what day's PE day? It's okay for the teacher to not to reply to that.
Yeah.
Because that's just something you can go to the office and ask in the morning when you drop off your kids, okay? So what I'd say is, if you're going to do this and allow teachers' emails to be accessed by parents, it has to come with strict rules where it's not then on the teacher to decide what their boundaries are, because then it can lead to some awkward situations.
Yeah, I agree. And the more we talk about parent email, like having your email address, the more I genuinely just fundamentally think it's awful.
Well, our old school, we didn't do it at all, and we were fine.
Yeah, and do you know what they did? All the emails came through the office system, and it literally allowed them to filter out stuff like when is PE on this day.
Yeah, so I sometimes got emails from parents, but it was the office saying, see this email from this.
Yeah.
Most of the time it was information. Like it was like, little Johnny has a dentist appointment, he'll be late for maths tomorrow. Just information.
Yeah.
Sometimes it was something actionable, like, oh, this person's going on holiday, they were hoping for a bit of work. okay, like it might be that either I say to them, look, well, we're doing this and this,
Yeah.
or I go by the school policy of what we do for that kind of thing. Most of the time, even with that, it would be intercepted by leadership,
Exactly.
and the leadership would sort it and say, we don't do this or we do that. Blah blah blah.
Yeah. I think that system worked really well. It took a lot of the additional stress off the teachers in our school.
And it was a big job for the leaders. Let's not forget that.
Yeah,
I
of
think we need
course.
to be very grateful because we didn't suddenly have, a lower demand from parents. We just as teachers saw it less. But I do think having that means parents get the hint almost.
Yeah,
Eventually, and they're
big
like,
time.
"Oh, this is a waste of time."
The
I don't need to
culture
do it."
was really clear in our school, I think, of
Yeah.
what is acceptable to email into school and the acceptable like layers of communication.
Exactly.
A lot of parents would have realized that's how it works, and they think, do you know what? I just need to have this conversation with the teacher. I'll just talk to them after school for 10 seconds,
Sure.
rather than emailing them at 7 p.m. and making them
Exactly.
worry about replying.
Yeah.
So I think that the ultimate tip here is knowing your boundaries as well. So the school need to have those boundaries. You also need to know them.
Yeah.
And follow those boundaries, like you said with the example of me versus my old self. You need to know and follow those boundaries, and your school should back you up. When you're in those situations of a parent maybe challenging that you've not done something, and it's the school policy not to do this, your head teacher, your senior leadership team should be actively going and talking to that parent and saying, no, you're wrong.
Yeah.
This is the policy I've set for my teacher, and they're just following it.
Yeah.
So actually, please don't get annoyed at them for that. And backing you up.
Definitely. Okay, last thing from me. We talked about this a bit recently, and it's when you bump into parents outside of school. How do you approach that? What's professional, etc. And I would say to people, don't be afraid to talk to them. Don't forget you're a human being.
Yeah.
You're doing a job, sure. If you're in the middle of Tesco buying carrots, just say hello. Oh, it's chucking it down out there, isn't it? I'm drenched. Yeah, I was making a roast dinner. Have a nice one. That's it. You don't need to seize up and say, oh yes, I checked your times table practice at the weekend. It was fantastic. Well done, little Jimmy.
Yeah.
No, you want to hear. Don't worry about it. You don't have to go into that role. You're a human. They're a human. I think there's something to be said for parents seeing teachers in a different role, and for teachers seeing parents and children outside of school, and just knowing that this exists. We're just people.
Yep.
Have a great day. Hope you're enjoying yourself. Nothing to do with the job. Monday morning comes on. That child's not been reading at home. I'm not going to say it in Tesco aisle.
No, exactly.
But I might catch them after school and just say, oh, quick one. Didn't see a reading record sign. Funny to see you at the weekend. Hope you had a great time. Are you doing much reading at home? I'm in the context of school there. You don't have to have those blurred lines.
That really was a positive sandwich, that one. Started with something negative. It was great to see you at the weekend, though. Back to the negative, though. Very good.
Johnny showed a chair, throw a chair at my face.
It's true, though. And equally, the opposite way around sometimes, you can keep your boundaries outside. If a parent actually is the one overstepping and trying to make it about school, but, did you get my email? In the middle of the Tesco, did you get my email on Friday about this thing? You can genuinely, you are allowed to say, I will check it on Monday. Obviously, I'm off duty right now. I'm just doing my shopping, make light heart of it. But yeah, of course, I'll check that on Monday. I haven't had time yet because obviously you sent it on Friday.
Did have time, didn't want to.
Yeah, didn't have time, didn't want to. Whatever, go away, please leave me alone. I'm trying to buy some carrots actually for Rudolph. So it's nearly Christmas, mate. Yeah, but yeah, you can. You just keep your boundaries. It's acceptable. Like you're allowed to be a human being outside. You don't have to be a teacher 24/7 all the time. Like you can just be normal.
I feel like there's one big strand going through all of this, and it's like, as a teacher, you can only control yourself.
Yeah.
You can only control how you react to people, etc. Okay, you can't control a parent frothing at the mouth, getting annoyed at you over something.
Yeah.
You also can't control the parent coming up to you at Tesco and saying, "Oh, my kid, how are they getting on?" You can't control these things. But what you can control is how you react to it. And I think for me, it's about being rooted in empathy. Okay, that's always the thing. It's always the thing. You care about the kids. You care about yourself.
Yep.
And you care about your work-life balance. And it's about getting all of those things right. And I think, yeah, it just comes down to that, doesn't it? That's how I look at this. And I think you've made some really good points here that I think are really helpful. How would you summarize it?
This is linked. A while ago, we asked each other on the podcast whether becoming a parent has affected how we think about being a teacher. I think we did that maybe last year. And at first, I was like, I'm not really sure. I feel mostly the same, but I think this has changed now. Being a parent now has made me realize how unbelievably defensive I am of my own child. And obviously, most people are going to be feeling like this as well. It has allowed me to empathize with parents a bit more in situations where, as a teacher, I might be thinking, oh, this is nothing. I've got 32 kids. This is just one of my conversations. They've just been a bit silly or whatever, or they were just struggling in this thing. I'm just going to tell you, get over it. And I used to think a bit more like that, whereas now I'm like, oh my God, I can really, really appreciate how intense that feeling might be for a parent to hear literally any feedback, whether it's positive or negative, more so negative. And I can just understand that a bit more. Do you know what? When they get angry, I'm going to forgive them. Even though that it was inappropriate, I can walk away and be like, do you know what? If that was my kid, would I have been feeling that way? Maybe I wouldn't have manifested it out, so outwardly and got angry, but I can absolutely tell you right now, River's only 2. And there's already been a couple of situations where I've felt really defensive, and I almost like my natural instinct is like, oh, I need to get a bit
Defensive
angry about this.
Yeah.
And realistically, it's nothing. I was like,
Yeah.
it didn't need that at all.
Mm.
But I felt that feeling, and that was the first. When I felt that, I was like, oh, I get it now.
Mhm.
I get it now. This is
Yeah.
this is the empathy I'm supposed to have for parents when they're hearing this. I remember
Yeah.
speaking to my job share, Julie, when we worked together, and she was really good at this. She was so good at being empathetic for parents and parents' evening and things like that. And I was always like, nah, just give the feedback. We've got 5 minutes. Just get on with it. And she'd always do the positive sandwich approach.
Mhm.
And it was
Negative
because
sandwich.
the negative sandwich approach. And it's because she had her own children and she totally understood how much they were her world
Sure.
and how hearing certain feedback would affect her massively, disproportionately. And we should empathize with that. So yeah, running theme through all this. I hope you enjoyed this episode, guys. We're talking about how to deal with parents, but having empathy is definitely a core theme through every single tip we've given.
Well, that was one half of it. The other half was me absolutely smashing a quiz that you designed from the ground up for me to fail.
No, listen, I've edited that bit out. So no one...
I am buzzing because I love recording this podcast, but the end of this podcast means you're going to go to Tesco and get me some Whisper Golds because I did well in the quiz. Guys, if you enjoyed this episode, share it with someone you think might find it useful. Please leave us a review. It helps us out so much. And Hayden, before we go, anything you want to say?
Every now and then, Whisper Golds 4-pack are on Club Card price. I'll be going there right now. See you there.